Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Government House Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawa. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, emerging leaders, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders gathered here today. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Official Secretary to the Governor-General. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also the Secretary of the Order of Australia, whose Council recommends appointments and awards in the Order's General Division to the Governor-General, who is the Chancellor and Principal Companion of the Order. I'm also the Secretary to the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for bravery awards. Before we start today's ceremony, I'd like to acknowledge that despite the challenges posed by the current pandemic, we are delighted to be able to host this ceremony in a COVID-safe manner. We're grateful for your understanding of and compliance with the measures that have been put in place to ensure everyone's safety. Today is a special day, not only for recipients, but also for their families, friends, and communities. It is a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. The Australian Honours System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Since its inception in 1975, almost 420,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military or national service. The Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service. And it's important to note that nominations can come from all areas of the community. Anyone can nominate. As staff at Government House, my colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in the recognition and celebration of that achievement. I hope we can help make today an occasion that you'll all recall with some pride for some time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand as Your Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley enter the room. Please remain standing and join in the singing for the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter the room from the doorway on my right, and then after they've been invested, will leave via the central aisle to take up their seats at the back of the room. At this point, you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause as the recipients return to their seat. At the conclusion of the ceremony, I'll invite recipients to join their excellencies on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph. And after those photographs, the recipients and their excellencies will join you for refreshments in the dining room. So please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Hurley, and for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. With golden soil and well toil, our home is not by sea. Our land and God's heritage of beauty rich and rare. In His state let every stage and bird Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Well, good afternoon to you all, and a very warm welcome from Linda and I to Government House Yarralumla for this very important ceremony today, and very much so an important part of the lives of our recipients and their families who are with us today. You are the, I think, 7th choir we've heard singing the national anthem, so well done today. Good rendition. And as we think about Australia, I should acknowledge that Government House here at Yarralumla sits on the land of the Ngunnawal people. I thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country for so many generations and pay respects to elders past and present. You'll have noticed when you arrive that today's ceremony has its pomp and has its protocol, and that is appropriate because this is a very special day in the life of our nation, in our calendar here at Government House, as we recognise the magnificent contribution of Australians to their country. But it is an Australian ceremony, so please relax. As Paul has told you, you may smile and applaud at the appropriate time. So enjoy the occasion. And in these smaller numbers, constrained as we are by the pandemic, it is very much a family affair today, and we welcome that. One of the most important aspects of our National Honours Award system is that the nominees or the nominations come from the community. So it is very much the people's or your ceremony. This is not a system where elites in Canberra or our major capital cities reach down and say that someone is doing a good work and therefore they should be deserved to be recognised. These nominations come from the community, from your peers. I want you to remember that as we conduct the ceremony, because I'm going to give you some homework after we've completed the formal part of the ceremony and I conclude at the end. Linda and I have been in this appointment now for 13 months. It's been a difficult period for our country. We came from my role as Governor of New South Wales for 4 years of drought there, rolled into drought, floods, bushfire, and now a pandemic. And it's been, as you all know, an extremely difficult time across the country. Every day for really the last 3.5, 4 months, Linda and I have been contacting leaders in our communities at the mayoral and above level, and then members of the community, CEOs and chairs of charitable organisations who are helping people through this period. And one of the things I come away from after every one of those encounters is a complete optimism and confidence in our country. We will have some difficult times ahead, but we have one very special resource, and that's our people. And today, we will see a microcosm of that represented here receiving awards. So again, enjoy just the opportunity to think through how rich our country is in its people. And on that note, I will now commence the formal ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of his appointment as an officer in the General Division, Dr. Brian Walker, for distinguished service to science, particularly to ecosystem ecology and research, and to professional scientific bodies. Dr. Walker is one of those rare academic scientists who both pushed the theoretical frontiers of his discipline and also insisted on making a profound impact on practice. His devotion to working with stakeholder communities to increase the socio-ecological resilience of communities and ecosystems has been invaluable to the health and vitality of those systems. He led modelling of changes in natural ecosystems and the likely impact of human-induced changes. He demonstrated the ability of ecosystems, through their resilience, to return to their original state, but with capacity for them progressing beyond a point of recovery to a potentially undesirable change in status. Dr. Walker has made an immeasurable contribution to science, to communities and scientific organisations around the world. Dr. Brian Walker, appointed an Officer of the Order. To be presented with the insignia of his appointment as a member in the Military Division, Air Commodore Kenneth Robertson. For exceptional service to the Australian Defence Force in international engagement, personnel management and administration, and combat support development and sustainment. Air Commodore Robinson has served the Royal Australian Air Force with distinction for over 30 years. He was vital to the Australian Defence Force presence in Butterworth, Malaysia, as Commanding Officer of No. 324 Combat Support Squadron through his involvement with the 5 Power Defence Arrangement activities in the region. As Director of Personnel in Air Force Headquarters, he introduced a talent management program that allowed quick responses to short notice key selections. In his role as Commander of the Combat Support Group, he has improved the group's understanding of force generation and has leveraged opportunities and outcomes. Air Commodore Robinson's extraordinary efforts in international engagement have left a positive and enduring legacy. Air Commodore Kenneth Robinson appointed a member of the Order. To be presented with the insignia of the award of the Medal of the Order in the General Division, the late Mrs. Jacqueline Warner, to be accepted by her granddaughter, Miss Talia Arsdorf, for service to youth through Scouts. Mrs. Warner displayed outstanding dedication and support for the Scouting movement for over 35 years. She was a very active volunteer for Scouts ACT and was committed to the development of resilient young people in the Canberra region. She held a range of roles within Scouts, including as a Cub Scout and Scout leader, and for 25 years in a variety of commissioner positions, including as Branch Commissioner for Adult Training and Development. She was also an experienced contingent leader and organiser at larger events, including at Australian Jamborees and Cubberees. Mrs. Warner's unstinting contributions to youth in the ACT and nationally over many years is most deserving of our recognition. Ms. Talia Arsdorf accepts the award of the Medal of the Order on behalf of her late grandmother, Mrs. Jacqueline Warner. To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Conspicuous Service Cross, Captain Michael Devine, for outstanding achievement in the application of judgment as Commander Task Unit 641.1.1 and Commanding Officer HMAS Anzac in the tactical planning and execution of a Maritime Southeast Asia deployment from March to June 2018. Captain Devine adroitly commanded his 3-ship task unit comprising HMAS ships Anzac, Toowoomba and Success during a complex maritime deployment. He demonstrated skill and judgment in response to a dynamic and evolving strategic environment and delivered the operational effects required by the Chief of Joint Operations. He was mindful of the tactical posture needed to align with national interest and the requirement for effective engagement and coordination with allies and partners. Captain Devine's judgment and leadership set a high bar for subsequent maritime deployments and joint operations. Captain Michael Devine awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Conspicuous Service Medal, Colonel Craig Lauder, for meritorious devotion to duty as the Chief of Staff in Headquarters Joint Task Force 633 on Operation Accordion from March 2018 to January 2019. Colonel Lauder provided superior service to Headquarters Joint Task Force 633 and the deployed task groups throughout the Middle East region. He increased the capability of the headquarters, managed daily operations and support to the task force across the region, and conducted analysis and planning to support Joint Operations Command decision-making. Colonel Lauder most capably assessed each operational mission to determine if the Australian contribution could be concluded, consolidated, or transferred to a coalition element or partner nation. Colonel Craig Lauder awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Conspicuous Service Medal, Group Captain Robert Elliott, for meritorious achievement in leading, planning and delivering critical intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance and targeting effects for Joint Operations Command. Group Captain Elliott provided exceptional support to the Theatre Collection Management Board as the Staff Officer Grade 1 Intelligence, Surveillance and Reconnaissance Management. As a Director of Effects, Targeting and Network Analysis, he continued the revitalisation of the targeting capability started during his postings to Number 460 Squadron and then to Air Force Headquarters. Group Captain Elliott's superb commitment has resulted in Australia now having a fully operational targeting enterprise capable of enabling current and future operations and plans. Group Captain Robert Elliott awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. To be presented with the insignia of her award of the Public Service Medal, Ms. Helen McDevitt, for outstanding public service through social policy innovation to improve the lives of disadvantaged Australians, particularly young persons and people with a disability. Ms. McDevitt has been a key to the policy design and implementation of the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Her experience in dealing with complex, whole-of-government policy saw her progress the NDIS to full scheme realisation, and she was pivotal to the development of a core set of nationally consistent provisions. Additionally, she has led renegotiations of the Early Childhood National Partnership Agreements with the states and contributed to major development in health and education policy. Ms. McDevitt's efforts have greatly improved social inclusion and workforce participation for the disadvantaged in our community. Ms. Helen McDevitt awarded the Public Service Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations.
Well, we've acknowledged each of the recipients individually. I think it'd be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group, so please join with me. Just before I issue you with your homework, today is Are You OK Day, and coincidentally World Suicide Prevention Day. Two particularly important aspects or issues in our national life at the moment, and certainly if they had been important before, they're going to be very important over the next 2 or 3 years. So I would just remind you today that this is a day to turn our thoughts to others, particularly in relation to mental health. I will be checking as I go around speaking to each of you, so be ready for your answer with your answer, well, are you okay, when I get to your table. But not to make light of it, it is a very serious issue for our country at the present time, and we all have a role to play in just being a good neighbour to each other and making sure we're all okay. Your homework. Here in Canberra, with the mix we have at Our investiture ceremonies were a bit military heavy on some days, but if you look across the civilian recipients, you begin to see a wide range of activities and contributions that people are making to our country. As I said at the beginning, this system works from nominations from the community. So your homework is to go back home, identify those people and nominate them. Over the last few years, we've increased the number of women being represented in our honours and award system, but it only sits at 40%, and it needs to be better than that, much better. And also the multicultural representation in our system can improve as well. So please, back to your home community, look around. You know the people who are serving well. You've seen the range of activities that they can be nominated for. Please nominate. And Paul will give you a few tips about how to do that before we finish. But again, congratulations to our recipients. Thank you to all the families here today who have supported them. And I know you represent broader family numbers other than those who are sitting in these seats. And Linda and I really look forward to welcoming you here to Government House and spending some time with you now in the dining room later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has set, I do encourage you to look at the Governor-General's website, where there's a lot of information on how to nominate someone. So I encourage you to think about who is worthy of recognition within your community. We would be delighted to welcome back here to Government House for a ceremony such as this sometime in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations and the ceremony this afternoon. I now invite the recipients to join their Excellencies on the state entrance stairs for a photograph, and for guests to remain briefly in the drawing room while their Excellencies and recipients depart. Would you please stand for the departure of Their Excellencies the Governor-General, Mrs Hurley, and the recipients.